distant lands our forefathers came, some seeking adventure, some bound in chains. Through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom. Though great and diverse be our ethnicities, the bonds that unite us are stronger than these. We dine, we pray, we love, we dance and we play. We relate to each other, rest in your way. Today as a people united, determined and steadfast we stand. We look to a brand new horizon, the future now firmly in our hands. Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom. Hele, hele, bravo. Open your sting, Calico. Lepe, lepe, bravo. Naki your drum, Calico. Tabo, ya tabo, awo. Open your sting, Calico. Lepe, lepe, bravo. Raise your voices high and sing of your Caribbean pride. Sing it loud and strong, feel our hearts beat as one. Celebrate in song as we rise to heights where we belong. Sound the victory drum for Caracom. Hele, hele, bravo. Open your sting, Caracom. Lepe, lepe, bravo. Hele, hele. Tabo, ya tabo, awo. Naki your drum, Caracom. Lepe, lepe, bravo.
When you hear the word Jamaica, what comes to mind? The rhythm of reggae? The triumphs of track and field? Or perhaps the vision of white sandy shores kissed by turquoise waters? But what if it was way more than that? What if it is our fine flavored cocoa, the sweet aroma of Blue Mountain coffee, or the nutrient-rich yellow yams? If that is what comes to mind, then you are already touching the soul of a nation that is far more than an island. A small speck on the world map, Jamaica's soil has produced some of the best tasting food in the world, thanks to some of the best farmers and fishers in the world. Yet, In recent years, our ability to produce has continued to be tested by obstacles. Hurricane Beryl, Tropical Storm Raphael, and most recently, the fury of Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. Words cannot do justice to the devastation. Fields destroyed, animals lost, critical infrastructure ruined. And yet, amid the wreckage, something unshakable remains. For if there is one truth about Jamaica, it is this: she may bend, but she does not break. She is home to a people who laugh in the face of hardship, not from indifference, but from a deep belief that joy is their armor. They carry a spirit so luminous that even the darkest clouds cannot dim. It is etched into their DNA, their blueprint, the ability to rise, to rebuild, to keep moving forward, no matter what the world throws their way. That is why Jamaica is not just a place on a map. It is a heartbeat. It is a flame. It is a people who refuse to be defeated. So, I ask once more, when you hear the word Jamaica, what comes to mind?
Good afternoon, future cultivators. Good afternoon, future cultivators. Now, I say future cultivators of the future because in a room connected to agriculture, whether you're a farmer, an innovator, policymaker, producer, we all understand that every great harvest begins with planting the right seeds. And today, we're planting seeds for the future of Caribbean agriculture. Now, before we officially begin, let me ask you something. When you hear the word agriculture, what comes to mind? Food, farming, resilience, sustainability, maybe even survival, right? Well, today, it's all that and so much more. Because agriculture is no longer just about what happens in the fields, it's about the future of the Caribbean. And if there's one thing we know as Caribbean people, it's that when we plant with purpose, we harvest greatness. So this afternoon, we're not just launching an event, we're launching conversations, partnerships, innovation, and a bold vision for the future of Caribbean food systems. Now, that's a big deal if you ask me, right? Right? I know that's right. Okay. It is my pleasure to officially welcome you to the launch of the 20th staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 under the theme, the new FACE, the new face of Caribbean food systems. Now, I think that deserves a round of applause. Yes. Now, this year's theme is anchored in 4 key pillars: food security, agribusiness, climate-smart technologies, and export expansions. Now, before we proceed further, please allow me to acknowledge our distinguished guests. Special acknowledgement to the Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Mining, Chairman of the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force on Food Security and Food Production, and Minister of Agriculture of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of State in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Mining, the Honorable Franklin Witter, CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett, Assistant Director General of the FAO and Regional Representative for Latin America and the Caribbean, Mr. Rene Orellana Hakier, Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, Dr. Mohamed Ibrahim, Director of Special Programs, Economic Integration, Innovation and Development at CARICOM, Ambassador David Prendergast, Chief Executive Officer and Technical Director of CARICOM Private Sector Organization, Dr. Patrick Antoine, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Mining, Mr. Dermon Spence, FAO Representative for Jamaica, the Bahamas, Belize, Dr. Anna Toaz, IICA Representative to Jamaica, Mr. Kent Coppell, CARDI Representative to Jamaica, Mrs. Diane Clark Morris, officials from CAHFSA, CRFM, CPS, ECS, AACARI, and UWI. That was a lot, wasn't it? Hoocha! Heads of agencies and chief technical directors, directors and senior officials from the ministry and its agencies, farmers, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Good afternoon. Now, today marks the beginning of a regional movement focused on food security, innovation, climate resilience, and strengthening Caribbean food systems for generations to come. And if there was ever a time for Caribbean to rethink, reimagine, and reposition agriculture, that time is now. Now, this year, Jamaica proudly serves as host for the 20th staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, taking place on the 27th of September to the 2nd of October at the Ocean Coral Springs Resorts in Trelawney, with over 400 regional and international delegates expected to attend. And let's be honest, right? When Jamaica enters the chat, it's never anything short of amazing, right? We know that, right? You know, when anything we unite have a nice, correct? So we are beyond excited to showcase not only the future of Caribbean agriculture, but also the warmth, culture, innovation, and excellence that Jamaica brings to the regional stage. I think that deserves a round of applause. Yeah. Now, at this time, to officially set the stage for this milestone staging and share the regional vision behind CWA 2026, we now welcome remarks from the Director, Sectorial Programs, Economic Integration, Innovation and Development at CARICOM Secretariat, Ambassador David Prendergast. Please note that his remarks will be delivered virtually via Zoom. So, ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the screen.
Thank you, Moderator Daniela. Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, Jamaica. Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture of Guyana. Ministers of Agriculture from the Caribbean community, the wider region, and the hemisphere. Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of CARICOM. Dr. Ibrahim Mohammed, Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation in Agriculture, IICA, Mr. Rene Orjana Haltier, Assistant Director General of FAO, Dr. Patrick Antoine, Chief Executive Officer of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, Dr. Patrick Antoine, distinguished stakeholders, permanent secretaries, officials, partners, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome again to this launch event. It is with pleasure that I provide you today with an overview of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 as we launch the current installment of CARICOM's flagship platform for advancing the region's agricultural agenda. This event is a clear statement of our collective ambition for the future of Caribbean agriculture. For over 2 decades, Caribbean Week of Agriculture has served as the premier forum for dialogue, coordination, and partnership within the sector. It has consistently brought together policymakers, private sector leaders, farmers, and development partners, fostering the collaboration necessary to address shared challenges and seize emerging opportunities. This year marks 20 years of impact in shaping regional agriculture. When will this be held? The 2026 staging will be held in Jamaica from 27th September to 2nd October this year, and promises to be one of our most impactful gatherings yet. It comes at a time when the region must respond decisively to pressing issues such as food security, climate change, and market access. The Caribbean Week of Agriculture has always been a results-driven platform, and this year will be no exception as we work to translate discussions into tangible outcomes. The CWA is firmly anchored in the 25 by 2025 +5 initiative. This initiative, aimed at reducing the region's food import bill by 25% while strengthening domestic production systems, has entered a new phase. We are now transitioning from setting targets to scaling impact. In doing so, we remain aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals, particularly those related to zero hunger and climate action. Our focus is therefore firmly on building resilience, advancing rural transformation, and improving nutrition outcomes across the community. The Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 will serve as a critical checkpoint for assessing progress and strengthening coordinated regional action. The theme for this year is the new face of Caribbean food. That is the new face, FACE, of Caribbean food. It speaks to F for food security, strengthening availability, affordability, and resilience. A for agribusiness development, building a competitive, value-added sector with youth and women's participation. C for climate-smart technologies, promoting innovation and sustainable practices. And E, export expansion, improving standards, branding, and market access. These pillars provide a clear and practical roadmap for building a resilient and forward-looking agricultural sector, consistent with the broader economic and developmental priorities of CARICOM. So who will be involved? Importantly, the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 remains truly inclusive, a truly inclusive multi-sectoral platform. It will bring together ministers, regional institutions, private sector actors, farmers, women and youth, especially in the sector, as well as the moderator mentioned, future cultivators, agripreneurs, and entrepreneurs. Also, private or international partners and investors. This diversity of participation will ensure that our discussions are grounded in lived realities and practice, aligned with policy and driven by opportunity. The CWA aims to deliver measurable outcomes. We are deliberate in our focus on seeking to deliver impact beyond the event itself. Expected impact includes increased investment, stronger regional coordination, and the wider adoption of new and modern technologies. Equally, it is expected to contribute to enhancing the global positioning of Caribbean agriculture as innovative, resilient, and competitive. Our emphasis, therefore, is on ensuring that commitments made are translated into concrete and sustained action. So you would like to hear about the program of events and what are the main activities. These are: the program of events will include high-level ministerial engagements, including meetings of the Council for Trade and Economic Development, specifically focused on agriculture, a regional agricultural trade show and expo, the recognition of excellence through Farmer and Youth Farmer Awards, the Youth in Agriculture Digital Village, with a focus on the critical link to technology and technological advancement, technical workshop, discussions on funding, and farm visits. Together, these create a comprehensive platform for engagement, learning, and partnership building. In wrapping up the overview, we recognize that Caribbean agriculture stands at a critical juncture. Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 is therefore more than an event. It is a call to action on governments, the private sector, farmers, the industry, stakeholders, and development partners to work together with urgency and purpose. Guided by the FACE framework we mentioned before, which is part of the theme, you will recall them. We have a clear set of priorities on food security, agribusiness development, climate resilience, and export expansion. Our shared vision is one of food systems that are resilient, inclusive, and globally competitive. I encourage all stakeholders to attend, to actively engage, collaborate, and invest in this process so that together we can shape a stronger and more sustainable future for Caribbean agriculture. I thank you.
CWA is more than an event, but a call to action. Thank you so much, Ambassador, for those insightful remarks and for helping to set the tone for what promises to be a transformative staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026. Now, Caribbean Week of Agriculture has been bringing the region together since 1999, serving as the premier agricultural event on the Caribbean calendar and a key platform for shaping regional food and agricultural policy. Now, that's 2 decades of collaboration, innovation, and regional impact. How amazing it is when we come together and work together, isn't it? Amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker continues to play a critical role in advancing food security and agricultural development across the region. Ladies and gentlemen, we now turn our attention to the screen for remarks from the chair of the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force on Food Security and Food Production and Minister of Agriculture of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, the Honorable Zulfikar Mastufa.
distinguished moderator, Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of CARICOM, development partners, regional colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a privilege to join you today for the virtual launch of the 20th Caribbean Week of Agriculture, which will be hosted in Jamaica from September the 28th to October the 2nd, 2026. Over the past 2 decades, Caribbean Week of Agriculture has evolved into one of the region's most important platforms for dialogue, collaboration, innovation, and action in advancing sustainable agricultural development and regional food security. It continues to bring together governments, farmers, private sector stakeholders, development partners, youth, and researchers around a common purpose, building a strong and more resilient Caribbean food system. This year's theme, The New Face of Caribbean Food System, is both timely and visionary. It reflects the direction in which our region must move if we are to secure the future of agriculture and strengthen our collective resilience. The focus on food security, agribusiness, climate-smart technologies, and export expansion speaks directly to the realities confronting our region today. These 4 pillars must guide our policies, investments, and partnership as we work to transform Caribbean agriculture into a modern, competitive, and sustainable sector. Agriculture remains deeply connected to the economic and social fabric of our region. It sustains livelihood, supports rural communities, contributes to economic growth, and plays a critical role in reducing poverty and improving nutrition and health outcomes. However, we also recognize that the sector continues to face significant challenges: climate variability, rising production costs, global supply chain disruptions, natural disasters, and market instability continues to affect food production and food availability across CARICOM. Despite these challenges, the region has made notable progress in strengthening food production systems and advancing the regional food security agenda. This progress has been driven by deliberate investments, innovative policies, and strategic partnership across member states. Across the Caribbean, countries are implementing transformative initiatives tailored to national priorities while contributing to the broader regional agenda. In the Bahamas, we have seen climate-smart agriculture initiative supported by the Inter-American Development Bank, which are promoting hydroponics, farming, and renewable energy solution in vulnerable communities. Belize continues to support small farmers through financial assistance and reforestation initiative, while expanding production in key commodities through World Bank support projects. Jamaica is strengthening post-harvest infrastructure through the expansion of cold storage facilities, while investing in climate adaptation measures to improve water management and crop resilience. Suriname is modernizing plant and animal health services and implementing climate resilience agricultural projects focused on sustainable land and water management. Haiti, agricultural recovery efforts continue through the FAO-supported seed distribution programs and watershed restoration initiative, and at building livelihood and reducing disaster risk. Other member states are also making meaningful advances. Antigua and Barbuda is expanding greenhouse farming systems. Barbados is positioning breadfruit as an export-oriented superfood while engaging youth in agriculture. Dominica is investing in agro-processing resilience and employment creation. Grenada continues to strengthen fisheries management and land regulation. St. Lucia is improving fisheries resilience and revitalizing its banana industry. St. Vincent and the Grenadines is enhancing partnership for sustainable crop marketing. St. Kitts and Nevis is advancing sustainable land management programs. Montserrat is focusing on reducing food import dependence through targeted local production. Trinidad and Tobago is investing heavily in agro-processing and protected agriculture system. In Guyana, we continue to prioritize agriculture as a major driver of economic diversification and regional food security. This year alone, over 113 billion Guyana dollars has been allocated to the agriculture sector as we continue expanding drainage and irrigation infrastructure, increasing production, and investing in value-added opportunities across multiple subsectors. These developments across the region are encouraging signs that CARICOM is steadily moving in the right direction. We are witnessing increased primary production, greater investment in agro-processing, wider adoption of climate-smart and protected agriculture technologies, and stronger linkages among farmers, processors, markets, and exporters. Ladies and gentlemen, the Caribbean Week of Agriculture is much more than an annual gathering. It is a platform where regional priorities are shaped, partnerships are strengthened, and practical solutions are advanced. As chair of the Ministerial Task Force on Food Production and Food Security, I remain encouraged by the collective commitment demonstrated by member states towards achieving the region's food security goals and reducing our food import bill. At the policy level, CARICOM has identified several priority sectors that are critical to transforming the region's agri-food system. In livestock production, investments are being made to modernize slaughtering facilities, improve feed system, strengthening cold chain logistics to support quality assurance and expand interregional trade. In cereals such as corn and soya, the region is scaling up commercial production, expanding storage, milling, and feed processing capacity to improve feed security and reduce production costs. In fruits and vegetables, member states are investing in orchard development, greenhouses, and shade house systems, agro-processing facilities to support import substitution, improve nutrition security, and expand value-added production. The dairy industry is also receiving renewed attention through investments in modern dairy farms, pasteurization facility, and cold chain system aimed at reducing dependency on imported dairy products. At the same time, niche industries such as honey and spices are being strengthened through improved certification systems, quality assurance mechanism, and export promotion initiative that position Caribbean products in premium international market. These sectors represent a coordinated regional strategy that links production, processing, logistics, trade, and export competitiveness in pursuit of the region's 2030 food security target. Moving forward, the Ministerial Task Force remains committed to working closely with member states and regional institutions to remove barriers to interregional trade, harmonize standard and certification systems, improve transportation and logistics, increase production in priorities commodities, and expand value-added and export opportunities for Caribbean producers. Our collective success will depend on continued collaboration, innovation, and sustained investment in the agriculture sector. Before I conclude, I wish to commend the CARICOM Secretariat and the government and people of Jamaica for organizing the 20th edition of Caribbean Week of Agriculture. I'm confident that the discussion and engagement during CWA 2026 will help shape a more resilient, sustainable, and competitive agricultural future for our region. Together, Let us continue building new face of Caribbean food systems and securing a stronger future for the people of the Caribbean. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister Mustufa, and for your continued leadership in advancing food security across the Caribbean. Now, as we continue this afternoon's program, we now turn our attention to one of the region's key partners in agricultural development, innovation, and cooperation. Please welcome the Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture, better known as IICA, Dr. Mohammed Ibrahim. Please note that his remarks will also be delivered virtually via Zoom.
Good afternoon. Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, Minister of Agriculture, Guyana, and Chair of the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force. Honorable Floyd Green, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Dr. Carla Barnett, Secretary General of the CARICOM, Mr. Rene Orellana, Assistant Director General of FAO, Patrick Antoine, Chief Executive Officer of the CARICOM for the Private Sector Organization, Dr. Wendell Samuel, Assistant Secretary General of CARICOM, Mr. Ambassador David Gast, Director Secretary of the Programs of the CARICOM, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. First, I want to recognize the excellent work the Honorary Ministers of Agriculture is doing to enable food security and nutrition in the region. My Caribbean colleagues, it's my honor to greet you this afternoon. Because of your unanimous support, I stand here as the third national from the Caribbean in the post of Director General of the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. Let me say how pleased ICA is to partner on this 20th staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. We are enthusiastic to collaborate again with the CARICOM Secretariat, FAO, and CARDI to showcase innovations in agriculture development in the Caribbean. We also wish to recognize the host country, Jamaica, and anticipate a successful execution of the CWA in September. Caribbean Week of Agriculture is important to ICA, as we recognize the value of sharing knowledge and innovation in agribusiness among stakeholders across the region to tackle agricultural issues that affect us collectively. This year's CWA theme, the new face of Caribbean food systems, transformation and resilience, will take place almost a year after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, one of the most intense Atlantic hurricanes that destroyed agricultural production and infrastructure and disrupted farming livelihoods. I must commend the government of Jamaica for maintaining its commitment to host the CWA. Given back-to-back hurricane impacts, ICA will continue to support the recovery effort to build resilience in its agriculture sector and also the Center of Excellence, which Honorable Minister Green is championing. This year's theme of the CWA aligns with ICA's current technical cooperation objectives to scale up sustainable and resilient agri-food systems. ICA is promoting resilient agricultural practices through soil health management and adoption of climate-smart practices, and executing programs to alleviate the gaps hindering transformation of the sector. ICA is leading a CDB-funded agri-MSC business development and regional integration project in 5 countries to facilitate entry into markets, and is building capacities of all CARICOM countries to trade via implementation of an EU-funded project aimed at enhancing food safety compliance. ICA is also negotiating a project with Global Affairs Canada to work on biosecurity and strengthening food safety, and proposals to address loss and damage in the agriculture sector and resilient food systems with the Green Climate Fund. During my campaign for the position of ICA Director General, we agreed that agriculture, health, and food safety must remain a priority for the region given the threats, TR4 on bananas and plantains, African swine fever, bird flu, fruit fly, etc. As such, we are establishing an agriculture and food safety hub in partnerships with international, regional, and national organizations. To better serve the region needs, we also established a science and technology hub in Guyana with the partnership of Embrapa, a leading research organization in Brazil, a leading science-based organization in Brazil, and invited CIRAD to participate as a partner, being CIRAD as the main research center in France and also working in the region. ICA, in coordination with CIDIM, will also expand its rapid response mechanism to support quick recovery of agricultural production after natural disasters, and will continue to expand its program to engage youths and women in resilient agribusiness development. Our 2026-2030 medium-term plan will focus on the regional priorities endorsed by the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force and proactive approaches to support the Region 25 by 25 plus 5 strategy as the FAST strategy inclusive, to reduce vulnerability to the ever-increasing shocks, as for example, environmental stress and economic shocks, as we have seen, where the impacts of fertilizers and the disruption of fertilizers as the cost of energy, which is increasing over time. We have the political will. Stronger collaboration and better coordinated investments is needed to advance our agriculture sector. Our private sector, youth and women are fully engaged, and intra and extra-regional trade are increasing, while we know the bottlenecks, the forums, such as CWA, give us that space to agree on solutions together. I look forward to ICA's engagement with the Caribbean and international stakeholders at this CWA this year, and to call for action for us to work together to advance the agenda for strengthening agriculture in the region at this premier Caribbean event. Thank you, and I wish you all the success in this CWA.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ibrahim, for those valuable remarks. Now, I must say, this program is giving very much Caribbean unity, right? 1 minute we're here, the next minute we're virtual, the next minute we're here, you know? But it just honestly shows how important this conversation around agriculture and food security truly is across the region. Ladies and gentlemen, we now invite remarks from another key regional and international partner committed to strengthening food systems, sustainability, and agricultural resilience throughout the Caribbean and Latin America. Please turn your attention to the screen for remarks from the Assistant Director General and Regional Representative for Latin America and the Caribbean at the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, Mr. Renny Oriana.
Honorable Ministers, distinguished representatives of CARICOM, colleagues and partners, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure to join you today here in Jamaica for the launch of the 20th Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Allow me to begin by thanking the government and people of Jamaica for their warm hospitality and outstanding leadership. Jamaica has demonstrated a clear commitment to strengthening agriculture and food security across the Caribbean, not only by hosting this important event, but by investing in the transformation of agri-food systems for the future. For more than 2 decades, the Caribbean Week of Agriculture has served as the region's leading platform for dialogue, innovation, and partnership, It has kept agriculture and rural development at the center of regional integration and cooperation, something that FAO deeply values and is proud to support. Now, as we launch the 20th edition, we do so at a moment that calls for both reflection and decisive action. Across Latin America and the Caribbean, we have seen encouraging progress, with hunger declining for 4 consecutive years, yet millions still face food insecurity, while the cost of healthy diets remains out of reach for many families. In the Caribbean, these challenges are intensified by structural vulnerabilities. The region still imports more than 60% of the food it consumes, leaving countries highly exposed to global disruptions. Today, those vulnerabilities are being tested once again. Conflicts affecting global energy markets, fertilizer supply chains, and shipping routes are increasing food prices and the overall cost of living. At the same time, climate-related challenges, including the potential impacts of El Niño conditions, continue to place pressure on water resources and agricultural production. The message is clear. Building resilient agri-food systems in the Caribbean is no longer optional, it is a mandate. Agriculture remains a strategic pillar of the Caribbean countries and a source of livelihoods for thousands of rural families. Jamaica's role as host of the 20 Caribbean Week of Agriculture is particularly significant. Through Vision 2030 and its National Agriculture Development Plan, Jamaica is placing agriculture at the heart of sustainable development. These efforts are now being reinforced by the recently approved $50 million FAO-supported initiative ADAPT Jamaica, which will strengthen the resilience of vulnerable smallholder families through better infrastructure, improved technologies, and expanded market opportunities. We can mobilize greater resources and achieve lasting impact when vision, policy, and international cooperations come together. We must continue advancing efforts to reduce dependence on food imports, strengthen climate resilience, promote innovation and investment, and ensure access to affordable, healthy diets for all. FAO also reaffirms its commitment to supporting CARICOM's 25 by 2025 plus 5 initiative while continuing our broader work across the Caribbean in food security, climate resilience, fisheries, soil and water management, and opportunities for youth and women. Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time to move farther, faster, and together. May this 20th Caribbean Week of Agriculture mark a turning point to strengthen investments, deepen collaboration, and accelerate implementation toward more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems in the Caribbean. FAO remains committed to working alongside the CARICOM, Secretariat member states, and partners in advancing this shared vision. I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the CARICOM Secretariat for this invitation, and I trust this Caribbean Week of Agriculture will have a successful launch and a productive outcomes for the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Oriana. Now, are you still with me? Yes. Are you sure? Are you still with me? Hilangaliraida. Hilangaliraida. Don't worry, Auntie Faye isn't here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we all know that you can't spell agriculture without culture. And what would a Caribbean launch be without a little music, a little energy, and a little vibes, right? So, here to deliver a cultural item this afternoon, please help me welcome the talented Mr. Corey Rhymes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Come on, guys. Shake it up now. Time for entertainment. Are you ready? So like she said, my name is Corey Rhymes, and I'm here for a short time just to give you a little bit of, some rhymes, some poems. Anybody remember Miss Lou? Anybody know Miss Lou? Come on, raise your hand. right? Yeah, man, that's somebody I look up to. So I see that we're here for Caribbean Week of Agriculture. And when I think agriculture, I think food. You know, love my belly. Anybody love food? Anybody think that Caribbean food is the best? Okay, now me have no attention. So this one is about that, all right? And it goes like this. Caribbean food are the best. That seasoned to the bone. You ever taste rice and peas so nice you could have eat it alone? You lick your lip and say, that food is shot. To all that seasoned down and nice, you can't believe a rice and peas that. When last time you eat some good food, some boiled breadfruit and dasheen, some dumpling and banana with saltfish and baked bean, and all of the breadfruit now for boil, you know. You can roast some. Get all a cup of sour sap juice and yam breadfruit and run down. You see, me love total bad. But my granny, she prefer blue jaws. She said, Bami and Musa, bad like yours. But don't ask me what Musa. I promise I don't know. But my mother make the kind of potato pudding make you curl up your toe. Ackee and saltfish, white rice and curry goat. A problem when Jamaicans go river go run boat. Me not say the food will tie you, but you get caught in the loop. Worse if I get a reunion and go drink the goated soup. A plenty food we have. Not to mention rice and peas. The national Sunday dinner, whether locally or overseas. The oxtail is another one. That make your car straighten your toe. Caribbean food are the best. And at that, you know. Like that one? Yes, man. That's what I love my belly, so I definitely met that one day. See, the other thing that I think about when I think agriculture is farming. Any farmers in here? Just raise your hand. Oh, yeah, you're a farmer. What? Give me one thing that's on your farm. That pumpkin. Anybody like pumpkin? Pumpkin soup? Yes, man. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, this one is about farming. You see me? This is what is on my farm. I plant pine, banana, and some cash crop. Goat and pig, me have that enough. Me not joke, me not play. Me tend to them every day. A farming me do. Me grow rough. Me not dally. Me not pretty boy. Even though me can dress and look nice. The work might hard, but me have to thank the Lord. Christmas meat, curry goat, and white rice. So today, it's all about systems. A new face for Caribbean food. Grandpa, step aside. Take a seat, nobody slide. You know, me not try to be rude. But a time for some food security. A time for agribusiness develop. Because we go through the storm. And now a time for perform. A one direction. And that direction are up. That's why I plant pine, banana, and some cash crop. Goat and pig, me have that enough. Nobody checks on myself. Cheers, me love laugh. A farming me do, me grow rough. Climate smart technologies. Modern time need modern solution. Cause when climate change and things rearrange, everything can come up with a conclusion. You see, that's why me do export expansion. You think me ramp? Me come to make money. Being broke is too expensive. Nothing but poverty not funny. So I'm going to tell you one more time. Because you must catch it by now. Me grow when me eat and me eat when me grow till my belly big like cow. That's why me plant pine, banana and some cash crop. Goat and pig, me have that enough. Me not joke, me not play, me tend to them every day. A farming me do, me grow rough. You might see me in a big water boot. Me a minister flight, carry a friend. And you might ask, what we have on the farm? Me I go tell you again. Me say me plant pine, banana, and some cash crop. Goat and pig, me have that enough. Me not joke, me not play. Me tend to them every day. A farming me do. Me grow rough. Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Rhymes, thank you.
Him grow up? Him grow rough. I know that one that wake up the belly as them, you know. Where are the foodies? Where are all the foodies? Show of hands. May I put up 2 hands? Yeah, you know. One more time for Mr. Corey Rhymes. And make some noise for Caribbean flavor, man. Yes. Now, as we transition back into the program, we now turn our attention to the role of the private sector in strengthening regional agriculture, driving innovation, and advancing food security across the Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Chief Executive Officer and Technical Director of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization, Dr. Patrick Antoine. Please note that his remarks will be delivered virtually.
Distinguished Master of Ceremony, all protocols observed. You will allow me, though, to recognize the Honorable Floyd Green, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining of Jamaica, and the most distinguished Minister of Agriculture of Guyana, Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. You would allow me, too, to recognize our distinguished Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I bring you greetings on behalf of the CARICOM Private Sector Organization. For us at the CPSO, this 20th convening of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture is a major milestone and offers yet another excellent opportunity for stock taking and for planning and planting new seeds of sustainability, seeds of growth, seeds of resilience for our region's agri-food systems. Personally, I have come to value the courage of stepping out in faith and planting new seeds. For more than 20 years ago, as part of the ICA Caribbean team, we conceived and launched the first Caribbean Week of Agriculture, hoping only that it would bear fruit for years to come, and it has continued to do so. I have been privileged to witness its evolution from its earliest, modest beginnings to the robust regional platform it represents today. What began as a meaningful, humble gathering has now grown into one of the most substantive engagements on the regional agricultural calendar, a testament to the institutions, all of you, all of them, behind it, and to the pressing issues it so courageously addresses. But what I want to dwell on this afternoon is not the history of the CWA, but the significant weight and meaning that this convening carries at this moment. CWA 2026 does arrive at a pivotal moment. I acknowledge the comments and the context are framed by the Distinguished Director General of AICA, and we endorse them. As the region steps into this second phase, this +5 phase of the 25 by 2025 initiative, we carry forward the record of phase 1. That early work did more than advance a plan. It positioned food and nutritional security at the heart of regional resilience, trade balance, balance of payments, and economic integration. Phase 1 also emphasized the urgency needed to propel the region's agricultural sector forward and the opportunities to do so. Indeed, you would no doubt recall the CPSO's work, which identified 125 clear agri-food opportunities among 755 most frequently traded products within the CSME. Accordingly, the central question before us today is no longer whether food security warrants priority attention. That argument has been made and won. Now the more difficult question is whether the region is organizing itself through investments, through market structure, logistics, policy coherence, and enterprise development to actually close the gap between what we import and what we are capable of producing, what we are capable of processing, what we are capable of trading regionally and extra-regional. That is the task before us. We have learned in phase 1 that production volumes alone is not a sufficient measure of progress. The region must also assess value creation, redouble our actions at reducing the extra-regional food import bill, concretely so, intensify the focus on market penetration and the extent to which the economic value generated by our food systems is maximized within the CSME and beyond. They are honest questions at which we must confront in this assessment of phase 1, and learning on the lessons from phase 1 as we move into phase 2. For instance, where the phase 1 identified and developed the priority commodities and value chains, and we have focused well on some, did those opportunities translate into real production in all member states? How did we perform on real trade flows? How did we perform on private sector investment? How did we perform in growing and expanding our agri-food market share within the community? And where uptake of these opportunities have not delivered on the promise of the opportunities, what explains it? Was it logistics? Was it access to capital? Was it scale constraints, standards, and certification barriers? Was it price competitiveness? Or was it policy coherence? Moreover, was it a combination of gaps across the value chain that made otherwise viable opportunities commercially unattractive? These are precisely the questions that will determine whether the next phase, the +5 phase of this regional agenda, achieves the outcomes we are collectively seeking. In all this, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, we applaud the work of the Special Ministerial Task Force on Food Security and Food Production led by the Honourable Minister Zulfikar Mustafa. The CPSO believes that this phase 2, this +5 phase, must be data-driven, must be driven by evidence in agriculture, in technology, on markets. It must be science-grounded, with more focused support to agri-food entrepreneurs, including MSMEs, by providing them with greater emphasis on the things and the keys to success of their own businesses, including providing the enabling policy environment for them to achieve growth. Food security is as much a market fulfillment challenge as a production challenge. The region must be able to supply more of what we consume, to process more of what we produce, and to add greater value and trade products efficiently across the border. In this regard, we have to make substantial progress on reducing intra-regional barriers which exist in agri-food trade among ourselves. Achieving these objectives will require some shifts in our institutions and greater emphasis on our commercial infrastructure and on mobilizing private capital. Private capital feeds on clarity. It feeds on structure. Attracting private capital investment into agriculture and food systems requires that the investment opportunities are well defined and the investment environment credible. This requires an even greater shift in phase 2 from broad appeals to precise investment business cases, targeted value chains, defined processing opportunities, and clear logistics and technology support where the needs exist, viable market pathways, and a realistic view, on what motivates farmers, if not high returns to capital. Only with this clarity will investors, domestic, regional, or international, feel confident to commit even more in phase 2 than the commitments undertaken in phase 1. And this is where CWA 2026 has the real potential to distinguish or differentiate itself. This Caribbean Week of Agriculture can serve as a regional accountability and action mechanism, a space in which the region can engage in evidence-based and dispassionate assessment of the true status of the extra-regional food import reduction agenda, identifying gaps and transforming the opportunities which still exist into bankable, measurable wins for our community. One practical contribution could be to ground CWA's discussion in a current assessment of the region's food system, to identify where progress has been achieved, where constraints persist, and where targeted interventions will have the greatest impact. This foundation will sharpen the Caribbean Week of Agriculture's outcome and links what are always excellent engagement to concrete follow-up actions. The CPSO is committed to this process. We are committed to working with the CARICOM Secretariat, with member states, regional institution and development partners such as AICA and FAO, and other private sector players across the community. Transforming regional ambition into commercial structure and measurable outcomes must remain our focus. This brings me to the theme of CWA 2026. The theme, the new face of Caribbean food systems, describes in 4 pillars the integrated approach the region now needs: food security, agribusiness, climate smart technologies, and export expansion. These priorities are mutually reinforcing and deliver results, but only when they're pursued together. About the F, history shows that the food security pursued without commercial discipline may not be security at all. Oftentimes it becomes vulnerability in waiting. About the A, agribusiness. Properly developed, this becomes a driver of regional value creation rather than merely a productive category. About the C, climate smart technologies must rapidly shift from pilot and demonstration into mainstream adoption at scale, for that is the only level at which the change that our Caribbean economies require will be achieved. And the E, export expansion requires genuine competitiveness, reliable supply, and strong market intelligence to sustain it over time. The region does require the new face for its food systems, one that is more accountable, more investment ready, more market oriented, and more regionally integrated. The CPSO looks forward to CWA 2026 fulfilling its role, the role that it was conceived to play, the role as a platform where real production, where real trade, where real investment and real market shares are not merely aspirations, but are rational expectations pursued with structure, vigor, and commitment. The measure of the upcoming 20th CWA in Jamaica must not only be the quality of the engagements. Indeed, as you all know, we have no doubt that these will be substantial and substantive. But the true measure will be whether the CWA takes the region meaningfully closer to a targeted response of reducing extra-regional food imports, of strengthening regional value chains and regional sourcing, of fostering greater agri-food enterprise viability, and advancing the construction of an agri-food economy that works better for Caribbean people and Caribbean businesses. Colleagues, this is the opportunity and the task that faces us. The time for action is now. Let us get to work. Thank you.
The time for action is when? Now. It is when? Now. It is now. Thank you so much, Dr. Antoine, for highlighting the vital role of the private sector in advancing regional agriculture and food security. We now welcome a leader whose work continues to strengthen regional cooperation and development across the Caribbean community. Ladies and gentlemen, for the last time, we invite you to direct your attention to the screen for remarks from the Secretary General of CARICOM, Dr. Carla Barnett.
This year, the Caribbean Community's annual Week of Agriculture will be hosted by Jamaica from 27 September to 2nd of October. The 2026 theme, The New Face of Caribbean Food Systems, reflects the region's commitment to continue strengthening food and nutrition security and transforming agriculture and food systems through agribusiness development, climate-smart technologies, and export expansion. As CARICOM advances implementation of the 25 by 2025 plus 5 initiative to expand production and reduce food imports, these pillars remain essential to building a more resilient, competitive, and sustainable regional food system. This 20th edition of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture comes at a significant moment for the region and for our host country, Jamaica. In October 2025, Hurricane Melissa disrupted livelihoods, infrastructure, and food supply systems in key agricultural production areas and communities. Jamaica's hosting of this milestone 20th edition of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture, less than 1 year after Hurricane Melissa, stands as a powerful symbol of resilience, recovery, and regional solidarity. For 2 decades, the Caribbean Week of Agriculture has served as the region's premier platform for policy dialogue, knowledge exchange, partnerships, and business engagement within the agriculture and agri-food sectors. This year's high-level discussions, technical sessions, exhibitions, and business forums will bring together ministers, policymakers, private sector representatives, farmers, fisherfolk, youth, development partners, researchers, and entrepreneurs. They will focus on increasing agricultural production, strengthening intra-regional trade, expanding market access, improving food security, and enhancing the resilience and competitiveness of Caribbean agri-food systems. CWA 2026 will highlight the creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial spirit of the Caribbean people, particularly our youth and women, whose leadership and participation are critical to building more resilient, climate-smart, and sustainable food systems capable of withstanding future shocks. On behalf of CARICOM, I extend appreciation to the government and people of Jamaica for hosting this important event, and to the many regional and international institutions whose continued partnership supports the advancement of shared regional goals. I invite all stakeholders to join us in Trelawney, Jamaica, as we continue to shape the new face of Caribbean food systems, working together towards a more food secure, resilient, and prosperous Caribbean community. I look forward to welcoming you to CWA 2026.
Who's ready for CWA 2026? No, sound like you're too ready. Who is ready for CWA 2026? All right, that sounds like a better. We'll work on it. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Barnett. Now, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for another cultural item? I know you're ready for that. Yeah. So make some noise if you're ready. Yeah? The person now come out because them not come out to them kind of finke applause. I'm very sorry. No performance now keep with them finke. So are you ready? I'll work with it. So put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage the talented Miss Sherry Gay Johnson.
Ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant afternoon. Now, I wanted to be a little closer to you, so I made sure not to go on the stage. Are you ready to have a good time? Are you really ready to have a good time? Now, before I begin, I must let you know, this performance is not just a performance, it's also a test. And you all look like very bright students, so I expect you to get 100%. You are going to sing these songs if you know them. And if you don't know them, you know what? You get what they don't get. But if you do get all of them right, I have a special present for you once I'm done. Are you ready now? Ready now? All right, let's go. Know this one? You don't sound like you know it. You have to sing it with me now. Yeah, be alright. So sing with me, one love. I'm not hearing you. Said let's get together and feel alright. One more time, say one love, one love. Oh, give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Say let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass all their dirty remarks. A question I'd like to ask: is there a place for the hopeless sinner who has hurt all mankind just to save his own? Can you sing one love? Ooh, let's get together and feel alright. One more time, one love. One. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Say, let's get together and feel alright. So most of you have passed round one. I see some that didn't. Let's see if you'll do round two very well. Ready? You know this one? You know this one? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, say, I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. You know this? All right, let me hear you say. I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Yeah. Three singing birds told me my sunrise is always there in the morning, blessing and praying to say, I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Yes, it's you me picking on. Say, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. A day like today. We're going to round three, you know, we know. Ooh, songs of joy on CWA. Launched today. You know this one, right? What is this song? With me now, ready? Could you be loved and be loved? Say, hey. Could you be loved? Could you be loved and be loved? Don't let them fool you. Yeah, or even try to school you. We've got a mind of our own, so let them go if what they're thinking isn't right. Love will never leave us alone. What's in the darkness shall always come to light. So everybody say, could you? You are my choir today. Remember the present at the end. Could you be loved? Could you be loved? Could you be loved? Woo. Hey. Oh, one last time. And be what? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And for those who got all three right, you will get refreshments at the end of the launch.
One more time for Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, then pass the test because I don't want them get what they don't get. You understand? Bright sparks. Amazing, amazing. Give it up for Miss Johnson once more. Amazing. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker truly needs little introduction. In fact, some may even say agriculture was always a part of his destiny. After all, his name is Green, so it was only right, you know? It's only right. But beyond the name, he has consistently demonstrated a genuine passion for agriculture, food security, youth engagement, and the advancement of Jamaica's agricultural sector. On a clap for that, man. Yeah? But before he takes the podium, we invite you to turn your attention to the screen for a special video presentation. Immediately after the video, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining, the Honorable Floyd Green.
Home is more than a place. It's a connection, shared history, and the spirit that carries us forward. Across the Caribbean, our people have weathered storms, adapted through change, and continue to rise because resilience lives here. In our farmers, our fisherfolk, our entrepreneurs, our communities, our region, for generations, Caribbean agriculture has fed our people. It has supported livelihoods and has carried our flavors to the world. Despite uncertainties, we continue to innovate, to grow smarter, to prepare for the future. Food security means protecting what matters most, our people. Across the region, agribusiness is creating new opportunities. Climate-smart technologies are helping us adapt, and export expansion is opening Caribbean agriculture to new markets. From September 27 to October 2, 2026, Jamaica will host the 20th Caribbean Week of Agriculture. Jamaica welcomes the Caribbean to Ocean Coral Spring in Trelawney, where regional leaders, international stakeholders, farmers, fisherfolk, investors, and other key players will come together to display the new face of Caribbean food systems. In Jamaica, every guest is welcomed like family, and every partnership becomes part of our shared journey. This September, Caribbean agriculture takes center stage. The region comes together, not just as neighbors, but as one people, rooted in resilience. Welcome to Jamra. Chairman of the CARICOM Special Ministerial Task Force, my brother and friend, the Minister of Agriculture from Guyana, the Honorable Zulfikar Mustafa, other members of the team in the Ministry of Guyana, of course, our Minister of State, Minister Franklin Whittle, the Assistant Director General of the FAO, who was with us earlier today, Mr. Rene Halka, the FAO representative to Jamaica and Bahamas, Anna, who I know is elsewhere working on another initiative, CARICOM Secretary General, Dr. Carla Barnett, Dr. Muhammad Ibrahim, our ECA Director General, and our ECA representative who is here, Ken Kopel. Good to see you, sir. Permanent Secretary Spence, CTD Parkins, Dr. Antoine from our CARICOM Private Sector Organization, and then we have so many representatives here from Cardiff, from CAFSA, from CRFM, CPS, ECS, I said CRFM already, UE. Mr. Stanberry is here. I always have to give him special mention because his love is agriculture. That's why he's here. It's not because of UE. It's because him love agriculture. Senior representatives from the ministries, our private sector partners from Jamaica Broilers, Caribbean Broilers, Newport First, and members of the media across the region. Good afternoon, everybody. It is truly a wonderful day for Caribbean agriculture. And I'm happy that today we officially launch the 20th staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture. As our wonderful host will say, this is where you all applaud. This will actually be Jamaica's second time hosting the event, but we literally hosted it quite early. So this is almost 2 decades later. But this time is very special for us because it comes on the heels of a most devastating hurricane. The most devastating hurricane for agriculture that our country has ever experienced. And I think the hosting of the CWA for this 20th staging reminds us that while we may be tested, we are never defeated. So for us in Jamaica, it is a privilege and an honor to again welcome the Caribbean. For the region, agriculture has always joined us together because for all of our countries, it has played a central role in the development of the Caribbean. Historically, we know it has sustained livelihoods, driven trade, supported rural communities, and today, agriculture is even more critical than any other time in our history. Our countries continue to grapple with climate change, rising input costs, and ongoing global uncertainties. And these realities have enforced and has reinforced the importance of building stronger and more resilient agricultural ecosystems, more resilient food systems throughout the Caribbean. And this is why the Caribbean Week of Agriculture continues to be so important. For the last 2 decades, CWA has consistently brought together regional leaders, farmers, fishers, investors, and international partners, not just to discuss the future of agriculture, but to plan the future of agriculture and to drive regional development across our region. So this year, the new face of Caribbean food systems is doing just that. We are looking to emerge from this 20th staging with literally a new face of Caribbean food. A face that is focused on food security, focused on agribusiness development, climate-smart technologies, and how are we expanding our exports. It's a strategy that we have embarked on here in Jamaica, but we do believe it's something that the region has to embrace. Food security remains one of the defining issues of our time, especially with these global realities and these global disruptions. We must reduce our dependence on external, extra-regional markets. We must turn to our own capacity to feed ourselves. We must pool our resources to ensure that things like animal feed we can get throughout the region, that we do not have to turn to far afield countries to get our fertilizer, to develop our own organic biofertilizers that can serve our own people. We do appreciate that agriculture is more than primary production. One of the difficult things we do in the Caribbean is that as soon as the farmer sets up a factory, he's no longer a farmer, but now a manufacturer. And we categorize it different, as if to suggest that agriculture in the region is not value added. That is part of agriculture. And as such, we have to focus on agribusiness, innovation, technology, value-added products. And we have to ensure that in the region, we're using the Caribbean Week of Agriculture to look at regional blended financing options to ensure that our small-scale farmers, whether they are in Jamaica, Guyana, Barbados, St. Kitts, can have access to financing. We have to accelerate the pace of uptake of climate smart technologies and technology in general, using data to drive Caribbean agriculture. We know we share the same vulnerabilities. We have all seen the devastating effects of climate change. For Jamaica, it may be multiple Category 4 and 5 hurricanes. For other countries, it's long-standing droughts. But each of us in our islands have developed systems to treat with that. CWA has to be the platform that we are sharing those systems for implementation, that we're learning from each other so that we're shortening the time it takes to transform our agricultural systems with these new climate realities. It is clear that there has to be stronger investment in resilient infrastructure, in water management, in research, in protected agriculture, and in modern farming technologies. But as a region, as we look to feed ourselves, we must also be looking to export. Firstly, to export to each other. We're islands. And that is something that we have not paid enough attention to. We know the potential exists, but we also know it will mean developing regional transportation systems that are affordable for agriculture. And probably we should take the conversation out of the passenger travel and focus our conversation on how will we develop transportation systems to ensure that we feed ourselves. I know Zulfi said he wants us to get more soy, and I'm saying I want him to get more yam. How can we ensure that we come out of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture with definitive actions around these things? Ladies and gentlemen, this theme reflects the direction in which Caribbean agriculture must move if we are to build a sector that is capable of supporting future generations. For us, this is about advancing a stronger regional vision to shape the next phase of agricultural growth as we move closer to 2030 and all the commitments that were made across the world around 2030. We have to take this into our own hands. Started with 25, reducing our imports by 25% by 25 plus 5. There has to be a greater focus on building food systems that are more modern, better equipped, and that will respond to the global realities. So for us, hosting CWA 2026 represents an opportunity to contribute meaningfully to regional discussions, to showcase some of our own innovation and potential, and to set a pathway for action. Of course, we expect to see all our Caribbean ministers of agriculture. We want all our strong technical people from across the region to come to Jamaica. We want the entire Caribbean private sector. Dr. Antoine, we want you to bring the entire team, and we're going to check and see how much people are registering, because we want more business-to-business engagements. We want our exhibition hall to be filled to the brim, and we want to ensure that the strategic discussions are meaningful. Additionally, don't just bring the technocrats and don't bring the people. We want to see more farmers and fishers. We know here in Jamaica, the JISTV is already mobilizing their farmers to be a part of these sessions. And we want to see more of our countries ensuring that their delegations have farmers and fishers as a part of CWA. Of course, they will help drive our discussions around regional agriculture, around food systems. And these conversations clearly will expand beyond production alone. They will focus on investment opportunities, technology integration, climate resilience, trade expansion, youth involvement, and strengthening regional partnerships that can drive long-term growth. This aligns with Jamaica's long-term priorities. As you would have heard us announce, and today we would have started the day with a validation session for a 10-year National Agricultural Development Plan, which outlines our own pathway to modernizing the sector strengthening resilience, increasing productivity, and expanding opportunities across our agricultural value chain. To be honest, as I reflected on it earlier, many of our priorities in our 10-year National Development Plan are Caribbean priorities and reinforce the importance of collaboration as we work towards shared regional goals. We believe that CWA 2026 will again provide a platform for us to share these ideas, for us to share our plan, and to strengthen the partnership and to strengthen the actions across the region. It's about the Caribbean shaping its own agricultural future through regional cooperation, innovation, and collective action. So we know our greatest strength of our region has always been when we confront our challenges together. And I want to thank our brothers and sisters from across the Caribbean who reached out to us and were on the front lines with us to help us recover from Hurricane Melissa. We have not taken your support for granted. And it has shown that though we are separated by sea, our realities are the same. We face the same climate vulnerabilities. We face similar food security concerns, some of the same economic external pressures that affect our production and trade, but also we share the same resilience and spirit and potential that our farmers and fishers have displayed here to get back up and go again. Let us now join those efforts to craft a new face focusing on innovation, getting more youth involved, stronger collaboration between our regional institutions and our partners like ICA and the FAO, increasing the recognition that Caribbean agriculture must be central to every island's developmental agenda. So we look forward to seeing you here in Jamaica. The progress that we seek will only be done through stronger partnerships, greater knowledge sharing, increased investment, but more importantly, a collective commitment to truly building a food system that is resilient, sustainable, and capable of supporting future generations. And I will say this CWA is not one for talk, while we will talk. But as a region, we are great at talking. It must be a platform for action, for doing. And what we do here in Jamaica must resonate in every rural community across the region. So, September 27 to October 2, we look forward to welcoming you. Of course, we can't have a wonderful CWA without private sector partnership. So if you haven't taken out your checkbooks yet, now is the time, because as our host says, when Jamaica does it, we have to do it big. So we look forward to meaningful engagement. And to the delegates from across the Caribbean, we enjoy hosting people. And we look forward to hosting you and to develop stronger partnerships and to develop a pathway of action that will strengthen our agri-food systems and will truly create a new face of Caribbean food. Thank you.
No more talking, it's action time, right? Say action. Get those checkbooks out. Action. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your continued commitment to advancing Jamaica's agricultural sector and strengthening regional food security. Now, at this time, we also want to acknowledge all participating CARICOM member states joining us online this afternoon. Say hi, everybody. Hi. How you doing? Now, thank you for being a part of this important regional conversation, and we look forward to warmly welcoming you to Jamaica this September for what promises to be an unforgettable staging of CWA 2026. Because when Jamaica do anything, we do it what? We do it what? Thank you very much. Future cultivators, how you feeling? Oh, no, I'm not hungry. Oh, gosh. Remember, you guys want some refreshments, relax. Mr. Johnson setting up, right? So future cultivators, the time is what? The time is what? The time is now. Now we arrive at a very exciting moment in this afternoon's program, the official launch of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture 2026 website. This platform will serve as the central hub for updates, information, engagement, and all things CWA 2026 as we journey toward the highly anticipated staging this September right here on the Rock, right here in Jamaica, right? Say Jamaica. I know that's right. And as we say in Jamaica, if you're not up on the website, no go so, right? So if you go up on the website, you understand? So we're going to keep abreast on the website, right? So ladies and gentlemen, the official launch of the CWA 2026 website.
Are you ready? Something big is coming. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's official.
Very user-friendly, right? So grandma, grandpa, uncle, cousin, uncle, auntie, everybody can use it, right? Yes. Make some noise for that. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, what an incredible afternoon it has been. Today's launch was more than just the unveiling of an event. It was a reminder that the future of Caribbean agriculture depends on collaboration, innovation, resilience, and our collective commitment to building stronger food systems for generations to come. Because it's not just for us, right? Now, as Jamaica prepares to host the 20th staging of the Caribbean Week of Agriculture this September, we look forward to welcoming the region for what promises to be a truly impactful and memorable experience. And again, let's be honest, when Jamaica enters the chat, excellence is always a part of the conversation. Isn't that right? All right. Now, on behalf of the organizers, partners, and stakeholders, thank you all for being here with us this afternoon and for being part of this important journey toward CWA 2026. My name is Daniela McKenzie. Have a wonderful afternoon, safe travels, and enjoy the refreshments that you guys have earned. All right. Thank you.